Hey, Laura J, you're a little emotional today because fear is the virus and love is the cure. And it's so hard when fear is in the way. And then it's so hard when denial is in the way of that. To say, I'm not afraid of the virus. I'm afraid of what would happen if I got in contact with somebody that was not asymptomatic, and then it impacted my ability to do my job and affected my livelihood. And I understand that completely. And I respect where you're coming from with it. And then I also say that I do not respect abiding by rules that are unreasonable simply because a propaganda box tells you to do so. And a government which is literally written and spellcast in the word government, that we are in a de facto government, which is what I have written in the notices that I have sent lawfully in response to a summons I do not consent to, for summons are for the dead, and I am clearly a woman, breathing, God spark incarnate. Pardon me for being a little messy. That is what the Messiah is before, after, now, where all time is happening, the multi-dimensional layer cake of this ever-eternal now moment. In this moment, we have a choice. Whether we will choose to try to hold ourselves together and wait until we've got ourselves collected and calm and organized and breathing deeply to say, now it's time to start the message. It looks much better, wouldn't you say? I would say, indeed it does. Yet, the message started 2.5 minutes ago, nearly. And it started then when I was messy because I am the mess I am that is choosing to aspire to higher heights, which is what the cross is, for we are that center point. The field is in our sacred chamber of the heart, where the threefold flame of wisdom, love, and power burns bright, connecting us to the I am that I am presence, the picture of God that is up where our causal body, the sun of the one that we all come from and all return to and only feel safely separate from in the meantime, or unsafely separate from, because if we don't know where we come from or who we came from or what we came from or what we are or who we are or whose we are, how do we expect to navigate? How do we expect to have certainty? How do we expect to say, your corporation's bylaws don't apply to me because I don't consent to those rules. I'm choosing not to be an employee of a corrupted system that is designed to save itself significant time, energy, money, and more. For that's what systems are designed for. Save yourself significant time, energy, money, the energetic resources that we have as part of the team that we play with. Well, we have an inner team of time, energy, effort, attention, and money. And we have an outer team. And the butterfly flies around behind where we are in that moment simply because that was divine. Needed to happen. All of my, my beautiful plants are pretty much died because I have not cared for them lovingly, because I have done other things, prioritized other things, and so that's okay. But what I was saying is the fact that your team matters. We must become so faithfully driven that we actually wear our faith, not just on the surface, but in our hearts and on our face. We must wear our faith, for if we do not, we will allow fear in its place, and when we do that, we have already lost, because fear is the virus. that spreads the contagion. When I was heavily involved with the John Maxwell team, I went to 11 certification events, getting to meet thousands of exceptional human beings, men and women who got themselves in the room to be able to be groomed for this day when they say, yes, I am ready. I hope that that day has come for you. And say that about my experience with the John Maxwell team too, because it was a huge part of my identity over these last 10 years, and I've just been back from Soulshine Festival that was out of this world. Woo! But totally in it, and not of it, but from it, and oh my, all of these derivatives to describe what the experience was like. How do you do that, really? Other than to be it. You can have knowledge, noxus, or you can have practice, praxis. Noxus and praxis. That's what the Greeks used to say was ultimately what we have an opportunity to balance. Knowledge is in the head, praxis is in the heart, of having lived the experience so that we don't have to let the devil, spelt backwards, be the one that puts a veil of energy between us and what is possible. Wow. There's so much in this world. The world is a book, and those who do not travel read but only one page, which is why we must get ourselves into extraordinary rooms. We've got a delivery being made to a local barn of hay and corn, it would seem. Not both at the same time, just corn rhymes, so. Woo! Okay, well, I have just been summoned, but not from the dead. I have been invited early instead of later, and so I will wrap this up and say, I hope that you will choose to go with others who are going in a common direction, which is upwards. And also holding space in the now to call down the I am that I am. And when you do that, when you actually breathe yourself back into the moment and you realize that the system is going to impose rules that you don't have to choose to accept just because the propaganda box tells you to do so. And if you choose to not consent and to take your power back, then together we can actually reopen the world and, very important, hold those who are choosing to abuse their power personally liable for their choice to do so. And if you are one who is watching this now that is choosing to do so, please know that your soul will pay and your flesh will too. And I'm sending you love because you clearly need it. Because to do what you are doing to your fellow man and woman and child, to do that, I am sure, would bring lower level emotions, such as shame, into your body, into your presence, the presense. And when it does that, you suppress and deny it and compress it, and you bring in a Luciferian false light. False light, very much similar to it, all the same letters, lived and devil, don't you know? It's there for us if we look. The dog is man's best friend. They are amazing creatures, absolutely. A creature is a creation, though, and then property oftentimes by the one that created it, right? Well, if you understand who you are, you will not risk falling so easily for the fake news that is being sold in the mainstream that is poisoned, that people are still drinking from naively and being poisoned slowly. But like the frog that is better cooked in a lukewarm pot of water and then brought to a boil, the frog does not try to fight its way out. It just stays and adjusts and self-regulates until it has outregulated itself. Whereas what we are being called to do is to say, yo, that stream is poisoned now and it's going to get worse if we don't do something. We can't be looking at those who have chose the GMO jab versus not as the competition here, because that is just a divide and conquer strategy, and the politicians know it, and the enforcers and the controllers and the ones that would say that this is dangerous information, they who would make claims on what I say, that man or woman is the one that will be held personally responsible for your choice to participate in this corrupt scheme where the Luciferian regime is going to be seen to take over unless we unite and understand there were two trees in the Garden of Eden, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. Eve was deceived. Adam chose because he was given the opportunity. He knew better. She didn't. There were two trees. The serpent tricked her with the one. She then shared with her man and he came along for the fun. Well, are you going to do that too? You choose. But choose wisely and know that it is your soul that will pay, and that if a corporation needs your life force to fill that corpse, to give it any life force, please know that you're signing authority with the hand that would otherwise be holding arms. Your hand uses that pen in this pandemic, and you who signs will be held personally responsible. Your soul will be too, because it is the test in this giant video game called life. Your soul is being tested. It is the strategies of the dark and light. The dark side have strategies, and so do the light. The light have nothing to lose except for everything, except for all things are light, except where the shadow lies and casts doubt, which then prevents us from getting to that which we desired in the first place to give birth to, of desire birth. To sire, to give birth to. Desire, you magnetize it to you, baby. You bring it in. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Bring it into yourself. It is true that you gotta do what you gotta do. It's true that you gotta do what you're here to do. It's Sandy McMaster, he's riding by. It's true, so I will say